Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new. My name is Catherine and today I have a video all about books that I want to reread in 2021. So as you can see, there is a huge pile of books that I want to reread. To be exact, there is 22 books, I think. Plus, there are a few books that I don't own that I would like to either read on ebook or as audiobook, but I'm going to talk about those later. And because there are so many books, I am not going to dive deep into each of the books. I'm just going to tell you why I loved it and why I want to reread it. And in the end, I'm going to talk about the books that I don't own. Plus, in the end of the year, I'm going to create an update video and see how many of these books I actually have reread. So, the first series that I actually really want to reread is the Last Survivor series by Susan Beth Pfeffer. It includes Life as We Knew It, The Dead and the Gone, and This World We Live In. And then there is the fourth book that I have not read yet, and I have actually reread these once and I absolutely loved it. It's a dystopian series where Moon comes really close to the Earth and basically they run out of electricity, out of water, and it's like a survivor story. And I'm probably going to read this for Buzzwordathon. I think September's Buzzword is last, and the title of the series is The Last Survivor. So that's why I would like to reread this series and read the fourth one. The next book that I really want to reread is Wings by Danielle Steele. This is a story about a girl who really wants to be a pilot, but this book is set during 1930s, and her dad doesn't think that it's a good idea, and she has to basically, the story is like very complicated and there's a lot of drama, but I love this book so much. It was one of my favorite books of 2019. I'm just obsessed with books about pilots. So the next book is yet another historical fiction, and that is The Earth is Singing by Vanessa Curtis. This is a story about a Jewish girl, and well, actually she is Latvian, but she is Jewish, and it's set during World War II, and it's set in Riga, which is the capital of Latvia, which is I'm like blown away that somebody wrote a book set in Latvia. Like, what? And I don't want to say that I absolutely love this book, but I really enjoyed it and I would like to reread it. The next set of books is another trilogy, and that is Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. We have Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and then we also have Monsters of Men. I have read these books so many years ago. It was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I want to reread this because movie is coming out. So there will be a book to movie adaptation in 2021 about Knife of Never Letting Go, and when I watched the trailer of the movie, I was like, what is going on? I don't remember anything, so I would like to reread it. I remember that it was so entertaining. However, I don't know how much I'm going to love it now, but anyway, I would like to reread it and see. The next book that I would like to reread is yet another 2019 favorite, and that is With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. This was one of my favorite books of 2019. I read it when I was in Thailand, or was I in Vietnam? I don't remember. But then I got a copy and I really want to reread this book because I remember how fast-paced and how entertaining and how original it was. It's basically about this girl, Emily, who wants to be a cook, and there is this cooking class at her school that she goes to, and At the end of the school year, they plan a trip to Spain, and she has to get there. However, she is quite poor, and she lives with her grandmother, and she also has a daughter, so she is a teen mom. And that's, I think, what made this book so original, because we don't see a lot of books that star teen moms, and I think it's a very needed book and very needed topic to talk about. So I am so excited to reread this book. I just can't. I really want to reread it very, very soon. The next book that I am going to be rereading in 2021 was actually also included in my January TBR, and that is Salt of the Sea by Ruta Sepetys. I'm gonna leave a link to my January TBR down below, but yeah, I'm going to be rereading this in January, and I am just so excited. I just can't wait to reread this book. It was so original, it was so beautiful. The next book that I would love to reread is Wonder by R.G. Palacio. Again, I read this so many years ago, but when I read it, I absolutely fell in love with it. It's a middle grade story about August, who has this disability, and he basically doesn't have a face, and he decides to start in a public school, and it's his story, and it was absolutely heartbreaking and heart-wrenching, but so beautiful. And I want to reread it and watch the movie, which I am very, very bad with watching movies, so I haven't seen it, even though I loved the book so much, but I am definitely going to reread it and then watch the movie. Then we have another trilogy, and that is Burn for Burn by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivienne, and I've only read this book, and I really would like to continue on with the trilogy, but I don't remember much about it, so that's why I need to reread it. And again, this will work great for Buzzwordathon. There is this theme, I don't remember which month exactly, but there is this theme of elements, and this one is Burn for Burn, but then there is Fire with Fire and Ashes to Ashes. So it works amazing for the Buzzwordathon, and that's why I would love to reread it. And I remember how much I loved it when I did, but now I unfortunately don't remember anything. The next book that I would love to reread is Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. So this was one of my favorite books of 2018, if not my favorite, or was it 2019? No, I think it was 2018. When was this published? It was published in 2015, but I think I read it in 2018. I don't remember. Either way, it was one of my favorite books of the year, and it was just so beautiful. It's my favorite Sarah Dessen book that I've ever read, and I have read a few of them. And that's why I would like to refresh my memory and just go back in time and be a little bit nostalgic about how much I loved this book. Another book that I really, really loved, it was actually in top 3 favorite books of 2019, and that is How Hard Can Love Be by Holy Born. This is the second book in the trilogy, but basically it's like a trilogy with companion novels, so you don't have to read them one after another, and this was just absolutely amazing. It was, I think it was Hate to Love, and then it's set in the camp in the summer, and it was just amazing. And I would like to read the first book, then read this one, and then read the third one, so I can read the entire trilogy this year, which is amazing. This video wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about books by Casey West, and this time I am really looking forward to rereading By Your Side by Casey West. I have reread this book once, and I think it's my favorite book by Casey West. I absolutely loved Listen to Your Heart as well, but this one I think was my favorite. It was so fast-paced, it was so unique. It's set in the library, and basically they are stuck in this library, and it was amazing, so I really, really, really want to reread it. Here we come to another historical fiction that I don't remember much about, and that is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wayne. I really loved this when I read it. Again, it's about pilots, It's basically a book set during World War II where a pilot and a passenger are best friends, and their spy plane crashes in the Nazi occupied France, and one of them has a chance of survivor, the other one doesn't. This is a story about them, and there is I think there are two more books in this trilogy, but I would love to reread this one before reading those to refresh my memory and just see if I love it as much as I did when I first read it. Another historical fiction that I would like to reread because I don't remember much is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I really don't remember much about it. I think I read it in 2015 maybe, and I know that this time I'm definitely going to be listening to it on as audiobook because I found it and I don't want to read this entire book. I'm just gonna listen to it, but this is a story about a blind girl and a like German orphan who is destined to labor in the mines until a broken radio fills his life with possibility and brings him to the notice of the Hitler Youth. So I remember really liking it, but I would like to reread it and see. We have come to the book that I want to reread all the time, every time, like seriously, and that is Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. This is my all-time favorite book. It was absolutely phenomenal. I have read it 6 or 7 times, and I reread it at least once every year. So I've read it once in 2019. No, I think I read it twice in 2019, but then once in 2020. But then in 2018 I read it twice. I've read it in Lithuanian. I have a Lithuanian copy of this book, but I think I am going to be reading it in Latvian, and I just absolutely love this book. It's so beautiful, it's so unique, it's so heartbreaking, and I just want to reread it as soon as possible. And the three final books that I have as physical copies on my shelves is yet another trilogy, and that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before. So it includes To All the Boys I've Loved Before, P.S. I Still Love You, and Always and Forever, Lara Jean. So I have reread To All the Boys I've Loved Before and P.S. I Still Love You before reading Always and Forever, Lara Jean, but I really want to reread all three of them one after another and then do a book to movie adaptation marathon. So watch first, second, and third movies when the third movie comes out. I really hope it comes out very soon. So it's like my guilty pleasure. I really love this trilogy. Let's talk about a few books that I would like to reread, but I don't have physical copies of them yet. The first one is Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This was my favorite book of 2020. I absolutely loved it, and I really want to read Wild at Heart, and there is like a novella out. It came out sometime in November or December of 2020, and I really want to read the first book, reread the first book, then read the second, and then read the novella, and hopefully I will buy these books. They are very expensive for some reason, but yeah, I just absolutely love the first book, so I hope to reread it very soon and then read second book. And the final book that I'm going to be talking in this video is Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I read this so many years ago, and it's kind of my guilty pleasure. I really enjoyed this book. It was very entertaining. It's like a friends with benefits situation, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun. And I think it was my first Colleen Hoover book that I've ever read, and I've read a lot of them since. So I would like to go back in time and revisit those characters and the story, and I found it as audiobook, so I'm going to be listening to that this time. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And I hope I can actually reread most of these this year and make an update later. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books, if you ever reread a book, or if you just read a book and then never look at it again. Yeah, I will see you next time. Bye!